Welcome to the deep dive. Ever feel like your emotions are just this big tangled mess?
Oh, definitely. It happens to everyone, I think.
Well, today we're looking at a tool that might help sort things out a bit. It's called the Emotional Pinwheel.
Yeah, think of it like a visual map for your feelings, something to help you see beyond just, happy or sad.
We've looked into a few different models, and our mission today is pretty straightforward. Give you a solid idea of how these work and, maybe more importantly, how they can actually be useful.
Exactly. So the basic concept is a circle, right? A visual way to organize emotions. Usually you start with some core feelings in the middle and then branch out to more specific, nuanced ones.
And the main goal is what? Just labeling?
Well, yeah, labeling is a big part. Recognizing, naming, and understanding your emotions, and maybe others too. It helps build self-awareness, your emotional vocabulary, basically boosts your emotional intelligence.
Makes sense.
But it's important to remember, different people have designed these wheels differently. There isn't just one single version.
Okay, so let's dive into a major one. Robert Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions came out in, 1980?
That's the one. His angle was psychoevolutionary. He believed our basic emotions evolved because, well, they helped us survive.
The survival aspect. Like fear making you run from danger.
Precisely. Apprehension scaling up to terror, that response kept our ancestors alive. So Plutchik identified 8 primary sort of fundamental emotions.
Which are?
Joy, sadness, anger, fear, trist, disgust, surprise, and anticipation. And he actually paired them up as opposites.
Opposites, like joy versus sadness.
Exactly. Anger versus fear, trust versus disgust, and so on. It suggests a kind of fundamental tension between these core states.
Interesting, and he didn't stop there, right? There was something about intensity.
Yes. Intensity gradients. Picture the wheel. The closer you get to the center, the more intense the feeling.
Why do
Think
that?
annoyance becoming rage, or just feeling okay turning into pure ecstasy.
And milder feelings are further out.
Right. Serenity versus ecstasy, or apprehension versus terror. It captures that range we feel.
That makes a lot of sense.
And he also talked about mixing emotions. Primary emotions next to each other could blend to form secondary ones. He called them dyads.
Dyads, like what?
Well, joy plus trust could feel like love. Fear plus surprise, maybe awe.
Huh. And sadness plus disgust.
That could be remorse. Anticipation plus anger might lead to aggressiveness. He even made a 3D cone model to show it all. It's pretty complex.
Okay, so that's Plutchik. What about Gloria Willcox's Feelings Wheel from '82? How's that different?
Willcox's focus was maybe less theoretical, more practical, really aimed at helping people find the words for their feelings, especially if they struggled to articulate them.
So more about building that emotional vocabulary library in your head.
Exactly. Instead of just, I feel bad, her wheel encourages you to dig deeper.
Yeah.
Is it sadness, anger, fear, and then even more specific words branching out from those?
How many core feelings did she typically use?
Often 6 at the center. Things like sad, angry, scared, happy. Sometimes strong and calm are included too. It radiates outwards to a much wider range of descriptors.
So less about opposites, more about just options. A bigger palette.
You got it. More lexicon-focused than evolutionary theory-focused. Some versions might add intensity or even physical sensations linked to the feelings.
Are there others besides these two?
Oh, yeah. There's the Geneva motion wheel, for instance. That one uses 2 axes. Pleasantness, like positive versus negative, and control, high versus low.
Control. How does that work?
So pride might be pleasant and high control. You feel good and in charge. Sadness would be unpleasant and low control. It maps emotions into 4 quadrants based on those feelings.
And have that blank space in the middle.
Which is interesting. It acknowledges that sometimes feelings are messy. They don't fit neatly into boxes. Plus, there are tons of adapted wheels out there for kids, for therapy, focusing on body sensations. Lots of variations.
Okay, so how does someone listening actually use one of these? Let's say I'm feeling something.
Right. First step, try to find the word on the wheel that feels closest. Just get in the ballpark.
Then think about intensity.
Yeah. Is it a big feeling, closer to the center? Or milder, out near the edges? And then crucially, ask yourself, what triggered this? What's going on?
Understanding the why.
Exactly. And notice if maybe you're feeling a mix of things. The wheel can help see connections. What message might this emotion have for you? Is there an unmet need?
And using it regularly helps build that literacy you mentioned.
Definitely. It becomes more intuitive. And it can be a great tool for communication, too, explaining your feelings to someone else.
So the big picture benefits are better self-awareness.
Absolutely.
Right.
Which is the bedrock of emotional intelligence, knowing your emotions, understanding them, managing them, having empathy. It pops up everywhere. Therapy, schools, parenting, even AI development and marketing are looking at this stuff.
Okay, but we need a balanced view. What are the criticisms? These aren't perfect, right?
No, definitely not. A big one is oversimplification. Human emotions are incredibly complex. Sometimes a wheel feels too neat, too tidy.
And the whole opposites thing from Plutchik. Does everyone agree with those pairings?
Not necessarily. Anger and fear as opposites. Some might argue anger's opposite is calm, perhaps. Plus, there's the cultural aspect. These models are mostly Western developed. Do they capture how emotions work everywhere? Probably not perfectly.
That's a fair point.
And there's the whole debate. Are emotions discrete categories like on the wheel or more like dimensions on a spectrum? These models are subjective based on the creator's theory. Plutchik, for example, gets criticized for leaving out things like pride or shame sometimes.
And just looking at a wheel isn't enough on its own, is it?
Right, it needs reflection. It's a tool, not a magic fix, especially for significant mental health challenges. It's best used alongside deeper work, maybe therapy if needed.
So, wrapping up, these emotional pinwheels, whether Plutchik's, Willcox's, or others, are basically useful visual aids. They help categorize and understand feelings.
Yeah, they boost emotional literacy, self-awareness, communication, really valuable stuff, but you got to use them critically, know their limits.
Okay, final thought for you listening. Think about a time you felt something really complex, maybe a messy mix of feelings. How could using a wheel, even just mentally, help you untangle that? What might that reveal about the rich spectrum of your own emotional life?
Something to chew on. Thanks for diving in depth with us today.